Okay, Chapter 2, Question 85. A 7.83 gram sample of hydrogen cyanide is found to contain 0.290 grams of hydrogen and 4.06 grams of nitrogen. Find the mass of carbon in a sample of hydrogen cyanide with a mass of 3.37 grams. Okay, so how do we tackle this thing? So there's an awful lot of ways that this could be done. They're all kind of centered around the idea of like proportion of mass, like percent mass constitution, that sort of idea. So how we're going to start is by putting together a ratio of our that shows the mass of carbon in the mass of hydrogen cyanide that we have. Fortunately, hydrogen cyanide gives us a stoichiometry and everything. So we're just going to write that down up here, just so that I don't have any chance to forget that kind of thing. All right, so here's the basic ratio. So some mass of carbon is in the total mass that we have, and we're given the mass of hydrogen and the mass of nitrogen in here. So we know that the mass of carbon is going to be equal to the total mass times the rest, minus these other masses. So we're going to write the total mass here. That was 7.83 grams, right? And we'll subtract off the mass of nitrogen. That was 4.06 grams. And we'll subtract off the mass of hydrogen, which was 0.290 grams. 0.290 grams. Okay. All that divided by the total. There we go. That is going to give us a ratio of the mass of carbon per mass of hydrogen cyanide. And this ends up equaling 3.48 grams. 0.48 grams. Grams of carbon per 7.83 grams of hydrogen cyanide. Okay, this isn't what the question's asking. Like they want to know the amount of carbon that's in a mass that's 3.37 grams, right? So we got to scale this whole ratio down to that. But the magic of ratios is that this proportion is going to be the same no matter what these numbers are. These things are just kind of intertwined that way. I'm sure there's some kind of fancy word for it, but I don't know it. So here's how we're going to write this. I'm just going to put a variable there for the total grams of carbon that we're going to get, and we're going to put in that value for the total mass of hydrogen cyanide. And I'm going to put mass hydrogen cyanide, and we're going to see that these things cancel out, right? I'll just wall this stuff off over here so we don't get confused. Okay, so there, and then I'm going to rewrite this ratio right here, right here. All right, grams of carbon per 7.83 grams of hydrogen cyanide. So I want to solve for this quantity right here. So I'm going to multiply both sides by 3.37 grams of hydrogen cyanide. That's going to cancel out grams of hydrogen cyanide over here. That's going to leave us with grams of carbon and our final answer. All right, so we'll write that thing out quickly. So this is 3.48 grams of carbon from that side times 3.37 grams of hydrogen cyanide. That's the denominator from the left side. And that's all over 7.83 grams of hydrogen cyanide. All right, so grams of hydrogen cyanide are going to cancel out of these two terms here. And we multiply 3.48 by 3.37 and divide it by 7.83 for our final answer. And that returns a value of 1.50. Because we're confident to that figure, grams of carbon. And that's the final answer.